just imagine being with our friend Socrates in the Greek markets, or with any of the indigenous markets, and asking the most fundamental questions of life in the market. Why? Because it's in the market where, as citizens, as people, that's where most of us meet every day. And can you imagine whenever you go to a restaurant chain, and in the price of what you pay the inclusion of single mothers in the labor market, or when you buy a sneaker, you actually are paying for the inclusion or the reduction of recidivity in that price, and the poverty reduction. Or when you buy energy drink that competes with the chemical type of energy drinks, and then you get to the value of that product, you get a natural energy drink, but which is also regenerative of ecosystems and of community development. This is already happening, and you have it in the B Corp movement. Over 3,000 companies doing this already with their own example, but you also have it in other movements going in that direction. So it's basically finding social, environmental, cultural solutions at a very large scale in the market dynamics, in the market relationships. If this is possible, I just have, the kind of questions that are really, stopping me from sleeping every night. And I have two. If this is possible, why is it that in large corporations, in mainstream corporations, and in governments, we're not thinking of doing the same in the kind of decisions we make on a daily basis? For example, in governments, given the COVID and given the rescue packages, can we also adopt procurement policies and legislation where we award a special price to the companies that actually change their DNA and actually put profit for social and environmental purposes? Can we imagine issuing public, foreign, or domestic debts associated to the sustainable development goals and to large-scale solutions, rather than always limiting it to financial results or financial measurements? My big question for both governments and corporations is, please help us in finding the walking points, the kind of rationale that we need to share with these groups, so you overcome the short-term needs of being voted again and staying in power for the governments, but also the short-term needs of the shareholders that want only financial results. Given the kind of crisis that we're all living globally, where the ecosystem planetary boundaries are so clear today, but also the poverty and the income gap that has grown so much very, very quickly as part of the system with which we actually are developing, the societies. That's one of my main questions. Another question, given the experience that we've had globally, is that with COVID, we realized that there were very, very few global leaders for the common good. That the kind of leadership that we've seen is of leaders who have global power. And it's basically the muscle-driven global power. Who's more powerful than whom? So, but is that the kind of leadership that we can afford to have? Shouldn't we actually start developing, inviting citizens in whichever capacity to assume their leadership at a global level, not forgetting that we all belong to a local ambit at the same time. But we truly need global leadership for the common good that can help humanity move from this nation state kind of logic with absolute sovereignty over its own destinies, but affecting the rest of the world. How can we go from the absolute sovereignty to the collective interdependent sovereignty, which is good for humanity, so others can actually continue, our generation. So basically, if once you accept that we need global leadership, we definitely need a global governance that can actually respecting the human rights, the privacy, and respecting individuals in their basic human rights condition. How can we have also a global governance that helps humanity to cope with the kind of challenges to the extent that we're living today? The COVID is the first of the global emergencies. And we know that we will have to be well prepared for the next ones, probably coming very, very soon as well. So please help us with the walking points to the different stakeholders so we can come up with the kind of solutions also through the business, markets, and the economy domains.